This presentation on water resources was recorded at Iron Springs Adventure Resort in Cedar City, Utah. A magnificent and historical facility for relaxation, fun, entertainment, community activities, and a commitment to promote good governance and use of resources. This program features scientists who research and plan ahead for the needs of the Cedar Valley area. When Father Escalante passed through Cedar Valley 243 years ago, he called it Valle Rio del Señor San Jose, meaning Valley and River of Lord St. Joseph, spouse of the Virgin Mary. The area was lush with streams and lakes. On December 28, 1849, Parley P. Pratt with a party of 50 entered the Cedar Valley and spoke of many streams of water, as well as resources of coal and what they called cedar trees. What happened to all that water? 20th century civilization and agriculture drew the water beneath the surface of the land. Early explorers, developers, and pioneers made Iron County great. As movers and shakers, they made things happen with existing resources. But now, as Cedar City continues to grow, the need for more water resources is essential. Today, geoscientist Royce Nelson is a modern-day mover and shaker, challenging the powers that be in their outrageous plan to spend upwards of $400 million to pipe water to Cedar Valley from neighboring Beaver County, when there is plenty of water beneath the feet of Iron County residents and in the canyons to the east.
I want you guys to understand that this is not blue sky anything. This is rock solid science.
The area in question is the Cedar Valley Drainage Basin, an area about 29 miles at its widest and 43 miles at its greatest length. Note the position of Cedar City, Enoch, and then Parowan, which is not within this drainage basin. Canaraville is just outside of the basin at the south end.
My goal is to show that we have some solid professional geologists that will vet the things that Gary and I are saying today.
My biggest concern is that we use our water that's available in the bedrock aquifers surrounding the county. It's waiting for us, and we can show that it's real.
The bedrock aquifers are the black areas of higher elevation consisting of consolidated bedrock and quartz monzonite. The aquifers in the white lower-lying areas are being depleted.
The quartz monzonite basically goes from Pine Valley to Minersville. You got 50 miles of places, mostly owned by the BLM, that could have wells drilled on a regular basis, and it could provide a tremendous amount of water, all of the water that you need. The Cretaceous rocks are almost as extensive up the canyon, and so the intention today is to see both of those and to give you a feel for what those aquifers, those untapped aquifers, are like.
This counters the proposal that a pipeline be built from Beaver County, about 70 miles as the crow flies, but much longer going around, through, and over mountains.
This comes from Kelly Crane, who is the engineer for the Central Iron County Water Conservancy District. He says the science from these experts, talking about people from the USGS and the Utah Geological Survey, tells us that the only reliable long-term source of water that we have access to is the Pine Valley and Wawa Valley water. This is the only source that will provide a new source of water for this valley. I have recently seen publications that have said $425 million pipeline. I've got about over 50 cousins in Cedar Valley. None of us can afford the tax that would be involved with a $400 million bond. The thing that Kelly doesn't say in this quote that I gave is that his engineering company will be the primary beneficiary of a $400 million pipeline. And I just want that on the record, that that's a problem for me. I feel that I've been involved in this for a long time. I just don't think that it is right when we have something that might cost us $5 million to replace that depletion, to spend 100 or 200 or 400 million dollars.
These scientists recommend drilling wells into the higher elevations where water has not been tapped.
We have at least 5,000, if not 6,000 feet of sediments in this valley, probably most of which can be produced. We have produced our aquifers down to a maximum of about 840 feet. Now, if I take 5,000 and I subtract 840 feet from it, there's a lot more sediment that we can pull water from.
The group visits several sites to prove the point that there is adequate water deep down.
So we're not down at the water at the quartz monzonite level? No. Okay.
Natural spring water fills the old Desert Mound iron mine.
Most of you that have been around here know that when those iron mines were mined, one of the problems they had was they always had water in them and they had to pump that water out. That water's coming from this potentiometric surface. We're going to go out here to a well that was drilled by ARCO down 15,000 feet. We have the logs on that well. Those logs go through the quartz monzonite. We have high resistivities on those logs. We know that there's aquifer, that it's a big aquifer. We can demonstrate that with the log. It's just a fact, okay? This is not political. This is just a fact.
Some years ago, the Quichapal well was drilled in the southwest sector. They were unsatisfied with the flow and gave up, when for $25,000 more, they could have gone deeper for a very successful well.
For $25,000. Wow.
And the rig was here and ready to go.
And they already invested how much?
No, probably 170, 150, somewhere in there, 200, maybe 200,000.
You understand why geologists get frustrated with politicians? Tell you what, everybody be quiet.
Five.
There's water in there.
In Cedar Canyon, east of the city, there have been major landslides for many years, largely attributed to an abandoned coal mine. There is an abundance of water in those rock bodies and mine. The slides began in 1989 through the 1990s, in 2009, and most recently 2011. Costly damage has been the result.
When the last landslide happened, they spent about $10 million fixing that landslide. The reason the landslides started happening after they shut down the coal mine is because the coal mine stopped draining the water that was building up in the straight cliffs. And that water was causing the cliffs to basically deteriorate, and then they would slough off. They'd cave off like icebergs. Okay. I figure it's going to cost them $15 million next time the landslide happens. And it's going to happen because of the way they fixed it. The way they fixed it is they took all of those rubble beds and they built a big pond up above it. So they've got a drainage system down there. And they've got all of these rubble beds that are sitting right above the road, which are basically loose, unconsolidated materials. Those things get saturated and they're going to start moving, and it's going to landslide down. What they need to do is drill some horizontal wells into that landslide and go into the straight cliffs so that they're draining some of the water that's coming, because we have 36 inches of water a year. If they don't drain those rubble beds, that landslide is definitely going to happen. UDOT should pay for those horizontal wells to go in there. It doesn't cost the city anything. You just dump the water into Coal Creek, and we've already got the distribution system to get it to every place it needs to go. But what I'm trying to do is say, UDOT, you don't want to spend $15 million fixing that landslide the next time it happens. What you want to do is you want to drill a few $100,000 and drain those rubble beds so that those rubble beds are not going to get saturated.
You want to spend $1 million now doing that instead of $15 million when it all collapses.
Geologist Royce Nelson is very persuasive in his various scientifically based theories on how to provide an abundance of water to the Cedar Valley for generations to come. The residents, politicians, and business leaders of the wider Cedar Valley would be wise to listen carefully to what he says.
Along here, but the important thing is to keep the water drained out of those rubble beds.
Complete information can be found at www.walden3d.com/water or call 713-542-2207. Special appreciation to all who have contributed to these studies. Become a concerned citizen and let your voice be heard.